Hey, how's it going, guys? Mr. Boss for the win here, and in today's GTA 5 video, I'm going to be going over one of the new cars that was just added in the latest update for Grand Theft Auto Online, the Southern San Andreas Super Sport Series DLC. Today, we're actually going to be taking a look at the brand new overflawed Entity XXR, a supercar that was just recently added. So let's start with the price. That's going to be the first thing you'll notice about this vehicle. And let's be honest, it's pretty expensive, $2,305,000. Description is, sure, it makes sense for a nation of ultra-liberal herring lovers to lead the world in the manufacture of adorable flat-pack furniture. But just when you think you've got the measure of them, the Swedish go and produce a low-slung, heavyweight, pitilessly fast hypercar, and suddenly it's hard to sustain your prejudices when you're experiencing enough G-force to separate your face from your skull. Go figure. So that's the description. You've also see the vehicle stats right there, about 4.5 bars of top speed, about 4.5 bars of acceleration, about 1 3/4 of braking, and traction seems to be all the way up at the top. Very, very interesting. So you would assume a car that's $2.3 million is going to be pretty well performance-wise. Well, we'll get into that a little bit later. All right, so now that you've bought the vehicle, it's time to go to your office garage, or at least in my case, my office garage, and check out the vehicle for itself. So this is what it looks like right out of the box. Let's take a listen to the startup and engine sound right now. So it isn't incredibly loud or powerful, but I do think that is a nice engine and startup sound. And if we take a look at the interior, it's pretty normal. There are some modern touches to it, like the carbon fiber centerpiece, as well as the overflawed logo that you can see in the center of the steering wheel. But other than that, it's a pretty normal interior for this vehicle. I really overall like the look of this car. And let's be honest, it's the second overflawed vehicle we've got in the game. That's not a lot, making it pretty rare. All right, so let's move on to the customization of this car. And if you bring it to the LSC or your automotive shop, you'll notice that there is 17 different customization options that you can do. Now, the first one that we can actually change, or that is different, is bumpers. So in the front bumper option, you have stock, you have short splitter in primary, secondary, and carbon, and then you have splitter and canard options in carbon, primary, secondary, and highlight. Highlight is definitely the most unique, as it adds a tow hook to go as well, and it's also just the most different looking of them all. I like that one, and I also like the stock front bumper, so for this build, that's the one that I ended up going for. Now, as far as the rear bumper goes, there are fewer options. There's stock and then 3 diffuser choices: primary, secondary, and highlight. I really liked highlight for the rear diffuser, so that's the one that I went with. After that, you've got your exhaust options. There's not a lot. There's stock, titanium, big bore, and triple exhaust. My two favorites here are big bore and triple exhaust. After that, you have hood upgrades, which can change the fen from a primary, secondary, or a carbon color. I personally like the carbon touch on here. After that, you have respray options. This vehicle has 3 respray options: primary, secondary, and trim color. So the primary color is going to take basically control of the entire exterior of the car, minus any secondary options you've chosen. And the secondary option, the biggest thing for it is going to be the spoiler. The spoiler's color is actually controlled by the secondary color, which is actually kind of unique and can also give you some pretty cool combinations as well. Now, aside from that, the trim color is pretty simple. It's going to change the interior on the dash and the seat, so you can create some pretty funky combinations with a very exotic looking color, or you can keep things pretty simple like I've done and just simply go with black. Now, getting onto the spoiler, this car actually comes stock with what in my opinion is the best looking spoiler. However, there is options to remove it, adding a low level spoiler, a carbon wing, GT wing, and tuner wing. I think all the spoiler options look pretty good on this car, but I still think the stock one looks best. Now, since this car sits at 100% traction, I think you can keep the stock spoiler on and still have the performance you would get with one of the other spoiler options in the game. So again, I don't think you're going to be impacted by whether you choose a spoiler or don't have one or have the stock one, etc. Now, after that, the only thing that's pretty unique about this vehicle is the wheels. Now, they're not unique in the sense of they're new. However, they are high-end rims. They're basically chromatic Z. So you don't have to worry about changing the color of the rims via the iFruit app if you don't want to. all you have to do is go and select Chromatic Z, and you can choose whatever color you ultimately want. So that was my final product right there. We sort of went with this black and yellow carbon fiber vibe. This car actually has a lot of carbon fiber on here that you really can't change. Closer to the door sills and the air intakes, it's carbon fiber. Sort of the cover of the engine, that's carbon fiber as well. So the yellow and black combination here, in my opinion, looked really well. And I think that this car turned out to be super cool. Now, some interesting quirks about this car. The headlights are incredibly bright. I've actually tested some of the other new vehicles. They're not this bright, so I'm not sure if it's this vehicle in particular, but they are very, very bright. Also, you can open up all the doors, the hood, the trunk, and both passenger doors. And the hood for the engine is massive. Like, you can see through it, and it is literally huge. So it looks kind of funny with that up, but you can actually open up all the doors right there, and you can, for car shows and whatnot, actually make it look pretty cool. Now, as far as the performance of this vehicle goes, it's actually not all that great, especially for paying $2.3 million. There are better options and cheaper options like the Wagner. And that's sort of the thing that makes me really disappointed with this vehicle is it looks great, it sounds great, it's one of my favorite cars of all time. It's new, it's unique, it's exotic, being an overflawed, but at the same rate, it doesn't perform all that well, which is really unfortunate. Another thing I wish this car had was more upgradable options. I feel like some really cool racing liveries would have been ultra unique for this vehicle. But other than that, I'm impressed with this car. I love the fact that this is only our second overflawed. I mean, we do have another one coming in the drip feed, but this one's really exciting and it's really cool. And I'm a big fan of this car, even if it doesn't stick up to the performance metrics that I would like to, especially from a $2.3 million supercar. I am still overall a fan of this vehicle, and I know I'm going to be enjoying using it in races and just enjoying it in free mode in general. But anyways, that right there is my review and the ultimate customization guide and more for the brand new overflawed Entity XXR, a DLC vehicle that was just released in Grand Theft Auto Online a couple hours ago as a part of Southern San Andreas Super Sport Series, a new DLC for GTA 5. Let me know if you're enjoying this vehicle in the comments down below, though. I'd love to hear from you guys down there. Are you going to buy it or are you going to stay away from it? Let me know your thoughts, opinions, and more. If you did go on to enjoy this video, though, a like rating would, of course, be awesome. And also, subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are new. We like daily GTA 5 videos like this. With all the way, guys, like I said, thanks so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.